Hi, I'm Jeff Andrews and I'm working on my 57 Chevy, and I wanted to show you what I did and some of the issues I ran into installing door poppers and shaving the door handles on my car. Alright, here's the car. Got a piece of trim temporary installed, and you probably can't see from here, but there's a little button switch installed in the trim. It's not too obvious, but you can tell it's there, but I don't think it looks too bad. There's many other different switch ideas. You can do a magnetic switch. I didn't do that because the whole point of shaving the door handles, when I walk up to this car, I don't want to pull anything out of my pocket. I don't want to pull out a magnet to activate a magnet switch. The capacitive type touch switches, those can get activated by rain. If you ever tried to use your phone with a little water on your finger, doesn't work out too well. So I wouldn't want the door not working well in the rain either. So that's why I settled for a solid switch. So anyways, you hit this button. You have to disarm the alarm. When the alarm's disarmed, this button, when you hit it, sends a negative pulse to this little circuit I built. And this is just temporary installed, so don't mind the mess. But what this does is it takes any kind of short pulse from that button, and it latches it for about 1.5 seconds. And the reason it does that is because otherwise, when you hit that button, the door opens into your hand. Well, now you're pushing a button on a moving object, and it can cause you to triple or quadruple tap it. And this solenoid kind of makes a little bit of noise, so it would make a bunch of racket, and I don't think it would be very professional. So this makes it solid. The other thing it does is that little button, to get a button that small to fit in the trim, the only one I could find, it could only handle 50 milliamps. A Bosch automotive style relay, 12 volt relay, see anywhere AutoZone, O'Reilly's, those pull about 250 milliamps. So it might kind of work for a little bit, but you'll end up burning the contacts and not have something reliable. The other thing is that switch is a waterproof switch, submersible waterproof switch, so I don't expect to have any issues with that. Anyways, this signals, the ground signals latch for 1.5 seconds, and that signal's going to the relay. The reason I have that relay is because that small switch and even this circuit board can't handle directly powering an 80 to 100 pound solenoid. So it goes to that relay. The other side of that relay gets its power from the alarm system. When the alarm's disarmed, one side of that relay coil has power. The other side of the relay coil gets its ground through this circuit. So when the alarm's armed, the relay doesn't get power and the door won't open. Armed, does nothing. That circuit board actually doesn't get power. The circuit board doesn't get power. The solenoid, the relays, nothing gets power. When you disarm the alarm, it allows those relays to become active along with my circuit board, and then you hit this button, 1.5 second delay, drives the solenoid. Show you what I did on the solenoid here real quick. I just have 2 bolts holding it on. There's no deflection of the door panel or the solenoid when it's activated. So 80 to 100 pounds definitely isn't too much for the door. I have a piece of 1024 all thread, 2 coupling nuts, stainless steel pins, and a cotter pin holding this linkage in there. I'm not sure really if this is better than using a cable, but I was worried the cable might fray, so time will tell if this is good. I'm gonna leave the door panels off probably for 6 months to really make sure this is working good before I put the door panels in. Just how these door panels are held in, it's not like a new modern car. It's not friendly to get the door panel off. You don't want to mess up the paint, so you really want to make sure everything's working good before you do something. All I did was I took the other part of the latch that I wasn't using for like a door lock or something, cut it off and re-welded it here to operate the latch. You might be wondering why you need an 80 to 100 pound solenoid, because this only takes a couple pounds of force to pull. Well, the reason you need that is because when the door is shut and compressed against the seal, there's a little bit of force on this latch, really loads up this linkage. So if you have a car from the 50s or 60s, you're going to want an 80 to 100 pound solenoid. Newer cars, I think you can get away with probably even using a solenoid from the wrecking yard out of a door lock and just move it to operate the latch, but that's not going to work on one of these older cars. Plus, it's easy now, but after a couple years of corrosion, I mean, this car was just restored, or in the process of being restored. This latch is like, you know, freshly greased up and in like new condition. So after a couple of years of corrosion and dirt, this will be harder to move. Plus, with the latch loading up, you're really going to want an 80 to 100 pound solenoid. Anyways, just wanted to show you one thing. Oh, one other thing. This security system from Digital Guard Dog, I don't need to pull this key fob out and unlock the door. The way this is set up is if I'm more than 20 feet away from the car, the alarm is armed. When the alarm's armed, and I can simulate that here being closer, when I lock it, door won't open. So I'm 20 feet away, door won't open. As I approach the car, there's these RFID sensors, just temporary again up here, and there's one in the back. As you walk up to the car, the alarm system will disarm. So I still haven't had to touch the key fob. I just walked up to the car disarmed. When it disarms, you can open the door, get in. Now when you're in the car, there's another sensor, it's actually under the seat, that detects the proximity to that key fob. So when you're in the car, you're close and you have to be very close. This will allow you to start the car. So you have your foot on the brake, you can see it flashing if I hit the button. You just have to tap it, it'll initiate a start sequence and crank over till it senses the engine RPM has reached a certain point. Then it'll stop cranking and the car will run. So anyways, a lot of advantages to the way I did this system, because I don't want to have to, it's just like a modern car. You can leave the key fob in your pocket the whole time. You don't have to mess with keys, and you just walk up to your car and get in. When you walk away, the car's locked. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my videos if you want to see more. Thank you. Bye.